So I got on this red dress and these high heels, right? I got a bra, like, out here, okay? And I'm chasing these two Puerto Rican guys through the park. They got a suitcase filled with bank robbery loot. Okay, I'm screaming out, FBI, freeze! And I'm reaching for my gun, but I can't find it in the bra. It's so damn big. I thought I was gonna shoot my tits off. You know, that's a funny story. People always laugh at that story.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Andersky. If you're having so much fun undercover, why did you transfer to bank fraud?
I didn't transfer. I was censured and reassigned. It's like being punished. I was punished. I screwed up in the field.
What about you, Mr. Fox? Were you punished for screwing up in the field?
No, I've never worked in the field before. I audited background investigations of Department of Justice clerical applicants.
Oh, that's just great. I asked my team, and they dragged the bottom of the Pacific.
Mind if I ask you a question, Agent Handwriting? How come you're so serious all the time?
So does it bother you, Mr. Andersky?
Yeah. Yeah, it does bother me.
Does it bother you, Mr. Fox?
A little, I guess.
Oh, would you like to hear me tell a joke?
Yeah. Yeah, we'd love to hear a joke from you.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Go fuck yourselves.
Blake, did you just ask me a question? I think, is this going to be the first podcast ever where one of the hosts only talks in Morse code?
No.
Okay.
I was just trying to do the whole intro in Morse code.
I
think I succeeded.
I think you succeeded, but I wasn't, because I don't know Morse code. I think you may have asked me a question that I didn't respond to.
Not till the very end.
Okay.
And that was simply, how have you been, Jamison?
I've been a little less, or a little more confused than normal.
Oh.
But
tell me about that.
But I think, well, I've never had anyone ask me questions in Morse code before.
That's fair, I guess. I mean, weird.
To the listeners, Blake told me he was doing something weird, but he didn't tell me what. And so I knew it was weird, but I didn't know when I was supposed to come in. And so I imagined in my mind that it was just this game of chicken where Blake was just going to keep playing things in Morse code until I broke.
No.
Which I think I broke. I broke a little too early, I think. So
Actually did, because I'm not actually sure that we made it through the whole intro. But that's because I was also afraid that it might start repeating itself. And that would break both of us.
well, yeah. I don't know who I should be apologizing to. If I should apologize to the listeners for not breaking sooner, or apologizing to you for not letting your bit go the entire way.
Why don't you just apologize to both?
I guess that's true. I guess this was a no-win situation. Thanks, Blake.
You're welcome. Anytime. Yeah, I had to look that up. I typed in the DuckDuckGo. I was like, translate into Morse code, and it came up with this National Morse Code Association, some shit like that, and it allowed you to translate. Now, what I didn't realize at the time, because originally I had thought about doing it with just my knuckles on the desk. But then I noticed that you can actually play it on their website. And so I was like, ta-da! Talk about low effort.
That's great.
So
I don't know if anyone else will think it's great. That the 2.5 people who watched the movie will get it. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's you and I and Thad that probably watched this movie.
well, Kira also watched it because I made her watch it. So,
Oh, you
but she
made her
was
watch it?
knitting.
Oh. Knitting while not watching Knocking?
I'm gonna get in trouble if I talk about how knitting is kind of like being on your phone while you watch a movie. So
That's fair.
I'm not going to talk about that.
So
I'm
basically, what you're saying is that she didn't actually pay attention to it?
I'm not throwing any shade on the idea of not watching a movie with your full attention. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay. Speaking of, did you fall asleep?
No.
Seriously?
I seriously did not fall
Wait,
asleep.
you saw the same movie that everyone else did?
I may have picked up my phone at least once, though. So,
yeah, that's fair. I probably picked mine up a few times.
yeah. So I have to come clean about that, especially since I was just talking shit about it. So, yeah. But I didn't fall asleep. At least I was awake the whole time.
Nice. Nice. You were, I showcased my drink this evening in the cup of the local convenience store that I frequent called Kum Go. Spelled with a K for all you people whose mind was in the gutter. But you asked the question, a very perceptive question, is they have to know, right? And I'm like, of course they do. And then that brought up a funny story in my head from back in the days when I was still on Twitter. Because I don't know if you remember back when I think it was a Jewish synagogue that got shot up. And
in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. And right after that happened, Kum Go, the corporate account for Kum Go on Twitter, basically tweeted out saying it's time for us to finally come out and tell you the origin story of our name. And they just they put a link down, and you're supposed to go to the link, and it was supposed to explain everything. Well, whenever you clicked the link, it took you straight to the donation page for the Anti-Defamation League. And you know what? I was like, nicely done, Kum Go. That was actually pretty brilliant.
That's a pretty good story. That's a pretty good use of pretty good use of innuendo to like
Yeah.
stump for something. Good.
So
That's cool.
ever since then, I've kind of been on the come and go train.
Yeah,
So.
I wasn't sure where that story was going because I wasn't on Twitter at that time or didn't remember it. So I was like,
and you might not have actually seen it because it's this. I think Come and Go is largely pretty regional, if I'm not mistaken.
it's a pretty big region though, and
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the come and goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have
I
family
don't-
in Oklahoma City, so you kind of have to
Family in Oklahoma City, yeah, and I've driven through the country a couple times, so whenever you do that, you see the big regional chains of gas stations at least. So,
Yeah.
but I don't think we have any in California. So,
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing any in California. Anyways, that was a really significant tangent. I'm gonna apologize for that, but yeah.
Blake, don't apologize for that.
Oh, I'll never apologize for when I come and go.
Yeah, don't apologize for that. I think the people who stuck around through the Morse code are definitely not offended by your come and go story. So,
Well,
you're good.
I appreciate that. To all the listeners who are still listening, 14 minutes in, or however many minutes it has been, 11 minutes, something like that. Thank you. Thank you for sticking around. There's more to come and go.
Blake, are you surviving the purge?
Yeah. People are slowly starting to get power back. I don't know how many people. They're supposed to say, they said that a majority of people in Tulsa should have their power back by Saturday at 5 p.m. But it's going to be progressively more and more each day. So, yeah, I mean, we never lost power. For those who are clueless about what we're talking about right now, Tulsa had a significant severe weather event. There was like a tornado like 40 miles north of us, but that was as close as a tornado we got. It was mainly just really high winds and heavy rain, but it was enough to destroy my tree. So that's what I get to do on Saturday is pack up the old tree and move it to the grounds wherever they chop it up or whatever they do with it. Make paper out of it.
The Great Tree Burial Grounds.
Yes, the Great Tree Burial Grounds. So, no, we're surviving the purge. The raids on gas were not near as bad as they thought they were going to be. I mean, I still don't know if you can actually get gas all that easily still, but I know for the first couple of days there it was a little crazy with the gas situation. So,
yeah, you were texting me how it was. There was like raids on gas stations. 200,000 people were out of power, and all of the highways were closed too. So
yeah.
It just
because of tree falling. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a crap ton of trees that fell around Tulsa. So it is what it is. We survived it. We had it better off than a lot of people. So can't complain.
At least you're still on dry ground, right?
Oh yeah. We always choose hell instead of high water.
That is a good choice. And a good movie.
It is a very good movie, which
I'm
we
a
may have to
fan.
do at some point.
Yeah, that'd be great. I don't think it's been forgotten, but that would be a great choice. I like that movie a lot.
I feel like we should we should just take a year and dedicate it to Ben Foster films.
We could start with, wasn't he in a Nickelodeon series? We could start just by watching that.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
I think so. That's my earliest memory of Ben Foster, was that he was on some Nickelodeon show.
It wasn't Pete. It wasn't The Adventures of Pete and Pete, was it?
I don't think it was Pete and Pete, because
Okay.
I don't remember Pete and Pete that well,
I
and
barely remember it.
people around me always talk about it like it's legendary, but we didn't have Nickelodeon, which is weird because I started this conversation by remembering something about Nickelodeon that Ben Foster was somehow associated, but I don't understand why I can recall that information. I don't remember why, but I can. But I didn't watch Pete and Pete just because we didn't really have access to it. So, yeah.
The first thing I remember Ben Foster in was Get Over It with my my celebrity crush, Kirsten Dunst. And it was like a modern day version of like Much Ado About Nothing or something like that. It was at the time whenever 10 Things I Hate About You, like, what made a big splash, and everyone was trying to do the modernized Shakespeare youth rom-com kind of thing. It was, I don't remember it being very good, but I do remember him being in it. And that was the first time I noticed him as a entity.
Yeah. He's noticeable. He has some good roles. So
he tends to get typecast sometimes with the psycho bad guy kind of role. But then he gets random like movies like Leave No Trace, where he gets to like actually show his acting skill. Where it's all about subtlety and like expression with face and emotion and good shit.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Shakespeare adaptation?
Does it have to be film or just in general?
Yes.
Shakespeare adaptation. I mean, it would be hard to beat 10 Things as far as enjoyability. But it feels kind of cheap to pick that. That's the one I would probably watch the most. But I mean, if you're talking like a straightforward, I don't know. I kind of like the new tragedy of Macbeth.
That is a good choice. I liked it too. Yeah, I think for like the straightforward ones, you have like all of Kenneth Branagh's like series of films, and I don't know if I've ever sat down and watched the entire Hamlet, but I've heard that one's good.
It's like 5 hours or something like that.
It's very long.
Yeah.
Which, nothing against long movies. It's just, I don't know. I think I'm feeling old, and it's like, well, you know, I have to schedule a whole weekend to watch a 5-hour movie. But I was, as a young teen, I was always a fan of the adaptation. Oh, what was the director's name? I'm blanking on what her name was, but the adaptation of Titus Andronicus.
Was it Anthony Hopkins?
With Anthony Hopkins.
I remember the cover of that in the video stores with the blue face.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that cover. I never saw it, but I remember being like drawn to that movie box.
Yeah, I don't actually know if it's a good movie. The director later did the Beatles movie Across the Universe, which was not good.
Yeah, had a decent soundtrack, but mainly because it was Beatles music done by anyone but the Beatles.
Oh, yeah. I didn't ever listen specifically to the soundtrack, but the movie just seemed way too cheesy on the Beatles.
Oh yeah.
But you know, I remember really liking this movie. of Titus Andronicus, but I don't know if it's good anymore. So actually, that would be a good future flyby film.
Yeah. It would give some culture. Which is exactly what the two of us need, is some culture. So the most memorable scene from a Shakespearean adaptation was the modernized Hamlet with Ethan Hawke, where he gives the famous monologue as he's walking down the aisles of a video store. That is a scene I think about quite often. I don't know why. I don't even think that the movie was particularly good, if I recall correctly, but I remember being like compelled by that scene for whatever reason. So
Yeah. I don't think I ever saw that one. I remember when it came out. I think I was too young at that point to care about Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember thinking like, oh, that's weird. This old thing is set in modern day, And then I realized later, oh, that's what they do with Shakespeare plays all the time. So.
Yeah, good times. Good times. I remember that was the big argument back in the day about Shakespearean adaptations, as whether they were supposed to be in the Old English or if they were meant to be modernized. And I remember, I think it was, I'm sure that there's someone out there, an academic out there, who thinks it's believes this, but I think it was widely acclaimed that Shakespeare himself always meant for his plays to be modernized. And I'm like, Nowadays, I look back on that, I'm like, I doubt it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
If modernized, you mean in his lifetime, yes. But in his lifetime was contextually Old English. So...
Yeah. It doesn't bother me either way. It's just kind of like... It definitely reminds me of the argument that, that the only, like, good version of the Bible is the King James version.
Oh, yeah.
And, I think some people just like old things. And if you like old things, that's fine. Get your old things where you can.
I think my argument was more about just being super snobby one way or the other. I was like, who cares? If it's good, it's good.
Exactly. And I think that's, the tragedy in Macbeth, the most recent one, the script is all Old English, it pulls it off. And not only that, it's black and white, which is kind of an old technique from film too.
Yep.
So you've got a lot of old things kind of coming together, and it feels fresh and new and exciting and fun. So that's a good adaptation.
Yep. I agree. So I know that we were going to talk about something else, Jamison. What was it we were going to talk about?
Oh,
we got like 20 minutes left before we have to actually get into the meat of the conversation.
Oh, yeah. About 20 minutes left before the actual movie. So there's two things.
Uh-oh.
One is an exciting reminder. When this episode comes out, do you know that our podcast will be 20 years away from being able to drink?
What?
Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna be so lit in 20 years.
Yeah. If we last that long, our podcast will be able to drink.
Dang. So. I'm gonna be 59.
Ugh. Gross, Blake. No. For those of you who didn't catch my subtle math there, it means that our podcast is a year old. So,
that's beautiful.
I know, growing up so fast.
Was it actually the 28th?
It was the 23rd. So
Friday.
Friday, yeah. So
may have to do something special on that day. Or maybe not.
do whatever your low effort heart desires.
So nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what it was. I think I remember looking it up, and that was the first time that something was released for the podcast.
Yeah.
Was that day. So I guess we could pick that as the birthday.
No, surprise.
Oh.
The first teaser was today, a year ago, which is the 21st.
That's
the
true.
The longest day of the year.
Oh. You know what makes it the longest day of the year?
The sun being out for nearly 16 hours.
No, I was going to say that I have to record this with you. But,
that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I thought the same thing, but I was nice enough not to say it.
Oh, brutal. Brutal. I guess I deserved that. Yeah, no, I was looking forward to recording this. So that was one thing I wanted to say. So happy birthday, Blake.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Eat a piece of cake later or something. Do something celebratory.
I had 3 peanut butter cookies earlier. So
I think I might make a peach cobbler. My wife got a bunch of peaches, so I'm itching to use them.
Not a big fan of peaches.
Okay.
I will literally eat any other kind of pie or cobbler, but never. I mean, I don't hate them. I will eat it, but it's not my favorite.
Blake, you're pivoting to a topic that I wasn't going to talk about, but I kind of need to now.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Because
how peaches look like little fuzzy butts?
Yeah, well, okay, so peaches are butts. We all know that. We all agree on that. Peaches are also other anatomies, too.
What other anatomies?
If you use the emoji, it can mean either butts or vaginas, too.
Or, I thought it just meant thirst trap. Like a saliva peach.
Don't ever say saliva peach to me again.
Nothing like that old peach saliva.
I mean, I think that's the reference is like peaches are butts, and then like you have like butts and yoga pants, and their thirst trap pictures, and so you do
enough.
that. But okay, so what is your most top tier fruit? What is your favorite fruit?
In general, period.
Just the best fruit, the thing that makes your mouth water or like gets you going in the morning.
Really, really good tart blackberries.
Wow, tart blackberries, not just like
the blackberries that when you put them in your mouth, they're not like droopy. Like you bite into them and they kind of like burst, and they're somewhat tart, but also sweet. Like fresh, ripe blackberries.
All right, and that is in your mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any specific way that you like these blackberries?
In cobblers.
What is like in cobblers?
Well, I mean, outside of just eating them by themselves.
What's
like
the optimal temperature?
Room.
Room temperature.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm leading you on a journey because you've met George before, at least
Yes.
at least on the internet. My friend George is very opinionated about fruit, and he will tell you this. And his big idea that he pushes is that the colder the fruit, the better, and that's true for any fruit. And he will die on this hill. So,
is there any way to prove that?
I mean, he will say, his response has always been, give me an example or prove me wrong. And then whenever you cite an example, he says no. So, no, there's not any way to prove it.
In this day and age, you got to follow the science. Like, there's no other way to live life. You got to follow the science.
Okay.
And so if he can't reproduce his supposed evidence through scientific method, then he's not following the science, and therefore he's wrong and or suspect.
Well, I don't believe he's wrong because of that. I believe he's wrong because there are fruits that taste better at room temperature. But I hear what you're saying, and I think you're calling George out. You're saying, George, you need to set up a double-blind scientific experiment surveying a representative sample of fruit and actually prove this. So, okay.
No, actually, what I'm actually trying to say is that science is largely kind of a wank fest.
Science is bitches sometime.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Blake, did you hear this week? I heard about this story about this. It was actually almost local, but this restaurant in Sacramento, where it was Sacramento Roseville area, where the owner had hired a fake priest to get dirt on his employees. Mm-hmm. So he hired this fake priest to go and try to get the employees to confess to him their sins, and specifically their sins about the things that they may have taken from work or any ill feelings that they harbored towards their boss. And it was just the wildest story.
So they were using religion as a means of class warfare.
Yeah, they were. Exactly. And so I think what started it, though, was the Department of Labor was actually investigating this person for kind of withholding wages or things like that. And so he didn't want his employees to kind of report anything. And so he was trying to get dirt so he could blackmail them or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it just sounded... Honestly, it sounded like an It's Always Sunny episode. Like, where Frank... buys a restaurant and, maybe the employees, I don't know, he's with, it could be a Department of Labor investigation,
mm-hmm.
but, they come up with this scheme to get back at the employees. So
yeah,
it just felt so surreal. I can't even imagine trying to, how you get to a point where you think that would work, because you also assume that I guess all of your employees are Catholic. Maybe, so it was a taqueria.
Because if they were good Protestants, they would just confess to God, because they don't need a fucking mediator.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. As spoken like a good Anglican.
Yeah. They were taquerias, so the potential was that most of the work workers were like Hispanic or of Mexican descent. So you do have the Catholic bent there, but still, like, it just seems kind of wild that, you know, they would start confessing to a random priest who shows up to their work.
Well, and not only that, but it's presuming that these people, like, live the worst and best parts of their life at work. I mean, okay, sure, I'm sure all of us have done something stupid and or bad at work, but let's be honest. The worst shit we do, probably not at work. So the fact that you're bringing in a fake priest to get dirt on work, it's not good scheming.
It's a terrible scheme.
Oh,
a terrible
it's
scheme.
horrible. And not only that,
F-
but you know
F
those people
minus.
found the guy afterwards, and they were like, "Exercise this, bitch." And
Yeah.
then they exorcised his demons with their fists.
The workers.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so I was supposed to bring up the second topic, which I wanted to talk about, which is actually originally what I had texted you about.
Mm-hmm.
And is because it's the middle of the year, I was just wondering what your favorite music was from this year. So far.
You know, it's funny. I'm sure we're both doing the same thing. We're probably both looking at our band camps and reminding ourselves of what exactly have we listened to this year.
I would never do that, Blake. I would never use...
That's because you know this shit off the cuff. Yeah. I wish I was that cool. Yeah, I would say probably my favorite ones would have to be the MS Paint Post-American album, which has been it's probably been my biggest surprise of the year. I just, I listened to it on a whim one Friday, and I now listen to it quite often because it gets me going. And I know that you too like it. I would have to say probably outside of that one, the new Westermen in Inbuilt Fault for low-key kind of bedroom pop has been up there for me. I have fallen in love with this new Vulture Feather album, Liminal Fields, which I think has the potential of becoming one of my favorites by the end of the year. Haven't spent enough time with Killer Mike or Queens of the Stone Age to really know where they stand for the year. I like the new Yves Tumor, which I praise the Lord who choose, but which does something. It's a long title. But I like that album quite a bit. Yeah, those are probably my standouts. You and I are both DM Stith fans. This one hasn't connected with me as much as his last one. I like it, but I don't listen to, like, if I'm going to listen to like low-key pop or low-key kind of avant-garde, I end up going to the Westerman album almost 9 times out of 10. So
yeah,
I think of that style of music, I tend towards that one more than DM Stith. But yeah, those are probably my standouts so far.
Yeah, I think that DM Stith album is going to grow, but I think you're right. It hasn't been something that I go back to yet. I pass it in my Bandcamp collection, and I see it and I go, oh, I should listen to that again. But that's about as far. But yeah, I was actually going to call out the Post-American album, the MS Paint one. That one's just so much fun, and I think I described it to a friend as like, think like Rage Against the Machine, but take away their guitars and replace it with synth.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got like kind of an idea. But yeah, so it's probably been my top like new one. I listened to Makeup and Vanity Set a lot, and he released an album with Safaro. It wasn't like a split. It was they all worked on the songs together, and that one was called Wave Finder, and that's pretty cool. I've been listening to that a lot. And then if anyone is familiar with Circle Takes the Square, they didn't release a new album, but the Anthony Stubelek of Circle Takes the Square, I'm getting him mixed up with...
How dare you, sir?
I know. No, it's Drew Spezial. He's the guy who does the vocals in Circle Takes the Square, but he released an album called Drawn Bow as Visions, and it wasn't a full album. It was just like an EP, but it's just good, weird, dark, folky music. So
right up my
I enjoyed
alley.
that.
I'll have to listen to that one.
And then, but yeah, newer stuff. I guess I've been listening to a lot of stuff that has come out in the past few years that I've been missing.
Mm-hmm.
I found this one artist through another. So I listened to this artist called Midwife. Who's
Oh yeah, love Midwife. Yeah.
Kind of dark, folky, a little like dream poppy. It's like gothic dream pop.
It's what do they call it? Death gaze.
Yeah, death gaze. So so she turned me on to this other artist called Tucker Theodore, who I think I was telling you about, and he has a bunch of releases, but it's just like weird, again, dark Americana stuff. But his most recent one is called Lewiston by the Sea, and it's just this really weird, very uncomfortable in some ways, dark indie Americana album. You know, it kind of fits in with the Midwife crowd, but there's this cover of a Randy Newman song called Baltimore on it. And it's just the darkest, like it almost turns the song into like this weird industrial nightmare. So
that's awesome.
Anyway, that's been an album that I found this year that I've been going back to. So yeah.
Well, you did introduce me to an older album, and it was a Marxist metal album called Kentucky. By Panopticon, and I would be remiss to say I hadn't been listening to that quite a bit this year. So thank you for that recommendation.
That album has stuck with me throughout the years. Like Panopticon is just this one guy who makes kind of a mixture of bluegrass and or like folk and metal. And he's from kind of the Midwest Appalachian area. But that one album is so good and just does such a good job of mixing bluegrass and black metal, and also kind of having them as separate things. Like there are songs that are, you know, entirely bluegrass and songs that are entirely metal.
Yep.
And all the while, there's just this really cool undercurrent of, you know, of unions just putting up with tons of shit from the coal mining industry, and it's just such a good I don't know, story about workers. I don't know. It's just a really cool album. So if you haven't ever listened to that album, thanks Blake for reminding me of that again.
Yeah, that's so good. I of course, being who we are, we listen to probably a lot more older music than we do newer, but you and I are crazy enough to listen to new stuff too, so there's certain bands like Queens of the Stone Age that I'll always listen to whenever they release a new one. But yeah, I tend to go back and forth. It just depends on the day. Some days I just want to try something new, and other days I just want something comforting that I know well. So
yeah, I definitely think that's the struggle with getting older is so much music, and it's hard to kind of keep pushing yourself into the new category. And also, there's a bunch of stuff that you miss that deserves to be heard. And so you have to kind of split your time between the things you missed, the things you love, and the new things that are, exciting and interesting. And it's a challenge to kind of keep them all, balanced.
I've toyed with the idea of basically taking a year and just listening through everything that came out during my birth year, and but never have gotten the balls to do it. So it's a lot of work.
If you do that though, you'll also have a backlog of all the music from that year that you'll have to listen to. So
exactly. So win-win.
Yeah. Speaking of catching up on things that you missed out on when they came out, I'm reminded that neither of us had seen this movie that we're about to talk about.
This is true. I'm not even convinced that anyone has seen this movie.
Well, it did premiere at the Sundance Film Festival. So
what's that?
Someone in Utah.
Is that the place where all the paid critics go and watch their films and say nice things about them for money?
I think so. Blake,
beautiful.
If I could get into the Sundance Film Festival and had an excuse to go, I would totally go. I know.
I would go too, and I would refuse any payment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't get paid. I don't think I could get paid. So,
Fair enough. So, what were your thoughts going into this? Were you a little surprised that I picked a random one like this that neither one had ever seen?
Was I surprised? No, I wasn't surprised. I was
surprised with the pick, though. I mean, going with a Swedish thriller, come on.
I feel like Swedish films has been a topic that we've talked about before. So
no, never. Has never come up before in the entire history of our podcast. And I just want to notate that this is a year later since the last Swedish one we've watched. So...
Oh, that's true. Well, I was talking about Be Kind, Rewind. I forgot that we actually did watch a Swedish film. So,
yeah.
I was just thinking about the Swedish films from Be Kind.
Oh, yeah, the Swedish. Well, yeah, I mean, easily the better of the two, let's be honest. Swedish films are the best.
Of course. But I wouldn't say I was surprised. Like, this, it felt like a movie that I might put on, in a weird afternoon where I'm looking for something weird,
Yeah.
And And
or
those
depressed.
those European, horror thriller movies, they can be pretty dark and pretty surprising at times. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't do any reading before I turned it on because I knew that wasn't going to stop me from watching it. You had flipped the switch to say, Jamie, you need to watch this. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go in as cold as possible.
Were you willing to sacrifice?
What sacrifice?
You were cold as ice. Were you willing to sacrifice?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Always. So that was my mindset going into the movie. And yeah. So how did I feel about the movie after about 10 minutes? I was excited about the fact that it was only like an hour and 20 minutes long. So I was like, okay, this
10
is
minutes
a short
in,
film.
You're like, only got an hour and 10 minutes left. Okay, we're doing good.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
You made a reference to how many times did you fall asleep during the movie. So I think maybe you felt similarly at one point. The movie takes its time to develop this character and maybe even overdevelop this character. And then add a little more character development on top of that.
Or devolves from the character development.
Sure. Yeah. But what the movie thought was character development. Whether it was successful or not. I thought that the pacing was a little strange. I thought there were some weird stylistic choices in the film where it looked like they didn't have like a coherent way of thinking about the movie, where like, I don't know, they would go into these weird weird shots where it was like it was connected to the person's face, and like anytime she would turn, the camera would turn, and I didn't think that the movie deals with mental illness, and so I think that was like kind of a cheap way of trying to get into this person's mind and like be like, look, you're shaking around your head just as much as this person is to like keep track of this, so you can feel this way, and it just kind of felt a little jarring, and not as cohesive. These negatives aside, I do want to say I think the setup and the premise was pretty fun. And there were parts I enjoyed, and mostly though I felt like the execution of a good idea was medium to bad.
I would largely agree. As the listeners will find out, I texted Jamison with my pick, and then I said, I hope this doesn't turn into grief porn, because I despise grief porn. I'm pretty sure I came up with the term before it got used by anyone else, and I've only seen it used one other time. And so I want to just double down on that. I created that term. It is mine. I'm going to patent it. Anyways, I was afraid that it was going to turn into that. And to be honest, I don't think it had a cohesive enough through line to even pull off that. Like, the grief was so vague that I was like, okay. I mean, yeah, I know you're trying to like give us a sense of it without showing what happened, but I'm like, I can't really like grab on to why this character lost her shit. I mean, outside of losing a loved one, but I mean, plenty of people lose loved ones and don't find themselves in a mental institution. So it just didn't work for me. And then the director chose to make all these characters around her in this new apartment complex vaguely quirky. And I'm like, I have an issue with directors who want to give you a little bit of quirk, but not like go full force into it. And I find that to be cheap and cowardly. If you want quirky, you need to lean into it. Let's just go there.
I don't full need Wes Anderson.
Yeah. Go full. Well, I mean, I've got thoughts about Wes Anderson, but yes, sure, Wes Anderson. Why not? But yes, if you're gonna do quirky, go full quirk. Don't just give me these little touches like a strange like Nazi upstairs neighbor looking dude who
you thought that too.
Who looks like he likes flowers and gives her weird looks while he's smelling flowers. I'm like, I mean, that has the potential of being a really interesting and potentially creepy character, but it ends up playing off as kind of cliche.
Yeah. Definitely got Nazi vibes from that guy, based on how he looked.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I will say there was a little bit of a payoff with that character, which was, it's not what you think. Like, he's much nicer than you think. But it was pretty cliche. Like, it wasn't some sort of middle ground where this guy is also a weirdo, but maybe not the weirdo that she thinks he is, know? And yeah, so am I wrong? Did they never fully explained the grief, right? There's they keep replaying it and showing you more and more.
But it's just more and more of the beach and the water.
Yeah, but they don't actually show what happens. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I didn't fully miss that. I mean, I think the idea is, okay, so the movie opens up. It's this lady and her lover, or her partner, and they seem really happy, and then her partner leaves, and then she wakes up in a mental health facility kind of on her last day, and it's been like a year or something. They don't explain exactly the passage of time, but she's made a lot of progress and she's about to live on her own. And then you realize, like, oh, okay, something happened to her partner. And it turns out that her partner, something happened on the beach at that
We don't know what. We assume drowning or something, but
yeah,
it's never explained.
Yeah. But, there is this connection. So I guess what happened on the beach, her the main character was asleep and then wakes up and her partner is in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is kind of this illusion that like she has this trauma from not paying attention to the people around her. And so that's kind of set up for the whole plot of the movie, which is she moves into this complex, and at nights she starts hearing knocking.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere above her, someone is knocking, and it's not just random noise. It seems thought out. It seems like someone is trying to send a message with the knocks. Almost like it's Morse code.
Yes.
Although,
Because normal, everyday people know Morse code.
well, I mean, we all know that, like, if you get kidnapped, you definitely know Morse code.
Oh,
People only...
easily.
This is why you never learn Morse code, because you only get kidnapped if you know Morse code. So,
Yeah.
you
True
also
story.
only ever get, abandoned in the wilderness if you know Morse code, or if
This
you
is
know
true.
how to, like, do crazy things like that. So just never prepare for these situations, and you'll all be safe. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Don't ever learn Morse code. Just get it translated on a website like me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so I don't think that was Morse code. I think it was just knocks in the movie.
Yeah.
I think she just thought it was. But the rest of the movie is her kind of trying to figure out if she's going crazy or if someone is actually knocking to try to get her attention. And she's also trying to convince other people of this too. Like, there is someone knocking. She calls the police a couple of times. She doesn't know exactly where it's coming from. It's somewhere upstairs, but there's like 4 different apartments, 4 or 5 that it could be upstairs. And so it's just kind of the setup for paranoia. And actually,
And all of the central suspects are men. It's a little on the nose. Just a little bit on the nose.
This is true. There is like the connection to like domestic violence. At one point she accuses her neighbors of domestic violence, but they're just having kind of a normal argument, and they seem really embarrassed that she called the cops on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely, all of the suspects and all of the creepy people are men, including the Nazi neighbor, who we should clarify doesn't end up being a Nazi, just looks like a Nazi.
Yeah. It's like he appreciated Hitler's style, but not his ideology.
Yeah. But that's an interesting one, because at one point she breaks into his apartment and she like breaks down a door to get to the woman inside the door, but it's just his mom, and he's caring for her.
And she's like dementia riddled or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so I don't see any point in hiding any of the spoilers of this movie, because one of my biggest problems with this film is it seemed like every reveal was completely sucked of any surprise that it might have had by how they revealed it, or by weird choices of like lines and cinematography. And like the final scene is her like having this manic like dream where she's actually in a fire in the apartment building, and we hear this 911 call, and you come across the person who is actually holding the woman that she's been hearing this whole time in his apartment. And of course, it's the one guy that she never accuses of anything. Mm-hmm. Surprise. And you're just like, oh, man. Talk about the least interesting way of revealing that.
Well, yeah. It was weird, and I will say, like, the whole lead up before that was kind of her accepting that she still has trauma, and that her freaking out isn't helping anything and is actually making the situation worse, even if the situation was true, and that this is kind of due to her trauma. And she learns this lesson, and then the filmmakers are like, wait, no, let's pull her back in. Let's ignore all of that stuff and make it about this thing so that we can prove that she was right, even though she actually was struggling. So kind of throw her back into the blender at this point. And yeah, there's this weird scene where, she's smoking in her apartment, and there's also like where the fire starts.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. It comes from the ceiling, but she's holding a cigarette in her hand and not like putting it on the ceiling. So, I don't know. It wasn't very clear what was going on. I actually thought at first, like, oh, is she just dreaming that there's a fire?
Yeah. And that
which
quickly
maybe
gets thrown off as being, no, she's not dreaming it. There's an actual firefighter coming in and taking her out of the building.
Yeah. And to me, like, it's interesting because, okay, she helps maybe this person be discovered, but in doing that, she burns down this building and like, I'm guessing the dementia-riddled mom didn't make it out,
Yeah,
so I'm thinking, like, okay, yeah, she let her trauma, like, get the best of her, and now other people are gonna suffer for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you save this person who is kind of chained up in this guy's apartment, and that's great. But anyway, it seemed like a very, very muddled ending. But yeah,
do you want to know why I picked this film?
I absolutely want to know why.
So I picked this film because of its description. The simple act of knocking, having this, like, perhaps ghostly or perhaps not ghostly knocking that is, like, persistent and seems to be coming from an unknown origin and starts to drive you crazy because you're not sure if it's actually in your head or if it's real. That concept I absolutely adore. And so I picked that movie because I was like, oh, so there's something going on here. Like, maybe they're going to have some fun with it and try to, like, I like movies that use sound to their strengths, and and know how to play with how sound works and how it can kind of affect emotion. And man, I was disappointed.
To be fair, that's the best thing about the movie.
It is.
It's actually a great idea. It's actually interesting. And, I will say, like, the movie starts out kind of slow, but when that started to develop, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm in. And then it undevelops itself. But that was a great setup, and I think that was a worthwhile reason to watch, an 80-minute movie. So
yeah, I toyed with going with Barbarian Sound Studio. Because
have you seen that one?
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I love Peter Strickland in general. So, yeah, I almost picked that one because of how it uses sound to emote and to create tension. But I was like, too easy. Let's go with something off the grid. So, yeah, I really wanted this to be better. And I'm curious to see, because it's based on a short story. I'm almost curious to see if there is a English translation of it somewhere, because I would like to read the story and see if it is equally asinine or if this is just a really poor adaptation of it. Because the concept itself is, like you said, pretty compelling. And sometimes books are able to kind of prolong that tension a little bit better. Because it's depending on the person's imagination instead of their kind of visual cues and whatnot. So, yeah, I just wanted this movie to be better in general. And so by the time I got to the final scene and everything was this big monologue of exposition via 911 caller stuff, I was like, man, still better than Midsummer, but that's a pretty low bar.
I definitely think too, like, it would have almost been better if they left some ambiguity with the 911 call.
Like, easily, yes.
Like, there's this one point where the 911 caller thinks she hears something in this apartment, and the guy's like, "No, there's nothing." And then, the firefighter persists, so the person knocking at the door persists and goes in and then finds this person chained to this apartment. Mm-hmm. And and then you kind of get this, I don't know, I guess the character in the movie gets a sense of catharsis that
or you could have gone the Agatha Christie route with Murder on the Orient Express, and all of them were involved.
Oh yeah. At one point, I thought maybe that was the idea. Was like there was a tunnel system between all of their apartments, and they were just going back and forth. And that's all she heard was the pattering of feet, kind of traveling through the different tunnels. So,
man, I tell you what, you want to talk about some creepy ass shit. Stories of people living in other people's attics and walking around in their like walls and shit like that. Yeah. That shit ain't cool.
Have you ever seen, this is not a scary movie, but it's creepy at times, but have you ever seen House Guest? Is that what it is? It's a New Zealand film. I might be missing the title.
Oh, is that the one with the girl that is like in the house with the ghosts or something?
Yeah, yeah. I really liked
I
it.
have seen it, but it's been years.
What is it called? I think it might be called House Guest. I am looking it up right now. But I'm not sure. But yeah, it was it I'll figure it out. We'll upload. Right now I'm just getting a Pauly Shore movie called The House Guest. Which
You know what you should do? You should just find the movie and then pick the clip from that movie.
I think I'm gonna have to pick a clip from this Sinbad / Pauly Shore movie.
Oh God.
No, it's not Pauly Shore. It's Phil Hartman. Sinbad and Phil Hartman in this movie called House Guest. So
Man, talk about whiplash. Going from Pauly Shore to Phil Hartman. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's true. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to besmirch Phil Hartman.
Or besmirch Pauly Shore, depending on your taste.
I was a pretty big fan of Phil Hartman because he was in the Brave Little Toaster. So
That's a good movie.
Yeah. I think that was I was a fan as a kid, and then he was brutally murdered when I was a kid, and I remember like thinking how terrible that was. And so I always had kind of a soft spot in my heart, even though I don't know if he was a good dude or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when he died. But that's about the only tie I have to him.
Yeah.
I don't have any strong affinity towards any of his characters on Saturday Night Live or anything like that, so.
Yeah, I think I was a bit too young to be paying attention to Saturday Night Live. That's why my touch point for him is as the radio in Brave Little Toaster. But yeah.
Well, and I grew up at the height of Will Ferrell, Chris Kattan, SNL, so that's kind of my quote unquote era.
Yeah. Same, I think around that time, and then like Tina Fey, and like right before she kind of left and started doing her own thing and writing her own movies like Mean Girls and things like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Blake,
I'm sad. I'm sad that I picked this.
don't be sad. Not all movies are gonna be good. We know this.
Yeah.
But
I was really hoping that that the first time that we watched one that neither one of us had seen, it would be a full-on banger.
That would have been great. But
instead, it was just a whimper.
This is the low effort risk that we take.
It's like one of those, like, you know, when you have a really bad case of gas and it feels like it's just going to be like a massive explosion come out of your butt, but it ends up just being like a little squirt.
Ooh. Usually that means that there's like a lot more left up in your butt.
Yep. Just like this movie.
A lot of stuff up in their butt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably all the good stuff, let's be honest.
Was there one good scene from the movie? What's one good thing you can say to the movie?
I think that's pretty easy, actually. I think the lead actress does a fine job. She just doesn't have a whole lot to go with on it. She's got a very intriguing face, and it's expressive in really interesting ways. I think if she had had more to do than what they gave her, then I think she would be very effective. But I just don't think she was given that much. So.
Yeah. I'll say blood dripping from ceilings and walls will always creep me out.
Really? Let's break this down a little bit.
Yeah.
Why do you think it is that blood dripping from ceilings and or walls creeps you out? Because I actually have the exact opposite reaction. I find it deeply stupid.
Okay.
But that's just me.
I understand. It is kind of stupid. Like, it... And in this movie, I'll say it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It literally makes zero sense, and they never explain it. Which is actually maybe, like, one of the reasons I liked this piece of it was that, like, it was something where they didn't try to wrap it up nicely at all. It just exists. Mm-hmm. It's just some piece of weird shit that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I kind of liked it. So in the movie, there's like a dark spot, and you don't even know what it is. It ends up being some sort of blood-like substance, but it just keeps getting darker and darker and falls on her at one
The first time
scene.
she cleans it off, I was like, man, that cleaned off really nicely.
Yeah, it did. but it, like... It's, I guess, somehow connected to the knocking just because it exists and it's gross and there's also knocking. But it doesn't... There's like a vague connection to maybe the person who is trapped is bleeding too. But it wouldn't... There's no way that person would bleed enough to like bleed through the walls.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't make any sense. And that's where the fire starts for some reason. You know, maybe it's oil, but again, why is it oil?
It seems like they picked all the wrong things to be ambiguous about.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you why I think blood dripping from the walls is creepy. So when I was, 10, 12, I owned a GameCube. And on GameCube, there was a game called Eternal Darkness.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Eternal Darkness was basically this H.P. Lovecraft inspired story. So it was kind of at the height of Resident Evil games when those came out. And so it had like a play style like Resident Evil games, but they mixed in some Lovecraftian lore. And so there was all this like kind of insanity aspect to it. And you actually had to kind of resource manage not only a health bar, but also an insanity meter, which when your insanity went down, crazy things would happen. And one of those things was that the walls would start bleeding. And
nice.
I just thought that was just the coolest thing. And so it just gets me. Other things that would happen in that game that was kind of fun was they would try to break the fourth wall with the insanity stuff, where if you got too insane, like something weird would happen and then the TV would shut off. And you'd be like, why was the TV shutting off? And it was actually just the game kind of turning the screen to make it look like the TV shut off.
Oh.
And then it would turn it back on. And so, like, the insanity effects would affect you. So it was just, it was.
That sounds like a blast.
it was a lot of fun, and it was a cool
Sounds like
game.
it's perfect time for a renewal. They need to bring it back.
I actually don't know why they haven't, because it did get decent reviews. It even hasn't been like remastered, because a lot of times when they're not like recreating the game, they'll like remaster them, where they'll just kind of make it look a little bit better and run in HD or whatever brightness you want, or frames per second you want. So it was a pretty good game, and there's like 3 different ways that you could play it too, and once you played it all the 3 different ways, there was like a secret 4th path that you could take. So it was a lot of fun.
So that single game is the reason why you find blood falling from walls and ceilings creepy.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. That was way
it.
better than I was expecting, to be honest.
Oh, good.
I thought for sure you were going to tell me about some traumatic experience where blood was like actually coming out of the walls and ceilings and like was covering you. That would have just been stupid.
I like how you were more willing to make fun of my trauma than my 12-year-old video game fantasies.
Well, I mean, trauma's overused anyways, right?
Sure. Also, I would have been lying if I told you that I had trauma from blood.
That's fair.
From walls. So
That's
you would have been right to call out my BS. So.
Oh, I wouldn't have called out your BS. I would have just made fun of your BS. As if it was real.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of person I am.
Well.
So, what was your one positive thing besides blood?
Was it just the blood from the walls?
That was it?
I mean, I already talked about how I thought the premise was...
The concept was good.
The concept was fun and interesting. I thought the knocking sound was actually really good. Like, they did a good job with the sound design of that. It sounded the right amount of, is this something that I should be concerned about?
Yeah.
Is this something that I should ignore? And so they got that aspect well, and how that kind of fit into this person's, I guess their personal trauma about not hearing their partner and not being able to help their partner.
Yeah.
So so that's another positive aspect, but yeah. So some good technical things. There were some weird technical things that didn't make any sense. It definitely felt like this person, it was their first movie, and they threw a bunch of ideas into a blender. And
would you say that they threw a lot of spaghetti on the wall to see what would stick?
Yes. Also, did we ever get an explanation for the Duck Dynasty ringtone?
Oh. No.
So, if you haven't watched the movie, the main character has the most annoying ringtone in the world. And it's just a duck call that just keeps going off. And it's not explained like, oh, this person likes ducks. Oh, this...
Not at all.
It almost feels comedic that, like, this person who's, in all other aspects of their life, a very dark individual who is going through a very dark time, just randomly has this super annoying duck call ringtone that's going off, and like we'll just break up scenes with like when someone calls her, break up scenes with it's really funny. I don't know, and I don't think that was intentionally meant to be funny,
but it was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
Man, is this gonna be our shortest episode?
I think this might be our shortest episode, Blake. I think it might. I don't know.
Wow, that was a complete failure of a pick.
Oof. I mean, we still talked for an hour and a half. This episode is still going to be 90 minutes long. It's going to be longer than the movie.
That's true. And way more interesting and much more ambiguous.
Yes. Yes. Way more interesting. Absolutely.
And ambiguous in all the right ways. Yeah, I'm going to give this 2 thumbs down.
I will, I feel bad giving something 2 thumbs down because that feels like...
No, it sucks. It's okay. You just give it 2 thumbs down, call it good, move on. Move on to the next one.
No. My hope is that the people who make their next movie, the people involved with this movie, make a better movie. And,
I hope that too. It's still 2 thumbs down.
Use their powers for good. I wouldn't recommend this movie, but, it wasn't for me. So I don't think it was for anyone, but yeah.
In the scale, like, how would you rate it next to Ari Aster films?
I didn't think it was offensive like I think Ari Aster films are. I feel like we talk too much about Ari Aster, but again, the part that I don't really like about Ari Aster, and I think what makes me feel ill when I watch his movies now, is that I don't believe he likes his characters. I think he wants to watch them suffer. I didn't get that feeling watching this movie. So this movie, I would recommend it over watching Midsommar or Beau is Afraid. Not that I've seen
Beau is Afraid? I was about to say, I'd be surprised if you'd seen it.
I was going to say, everything I've read about that leads me to believe it again is that style of movie. And that, like, I don't think I can go through that. So,
yeah. Not only did I hear it was that kind of movie, but that it was really testing the limits of even the paid critics.
This is true. I think a lot of people were kind of put off by it. So
yeah, yep. Well, do you have anything else you want to say?
No.